Assalamu alaikum. If you're worried about losing muscle, gaining fat, and having poor energy levels during Ramadan, then inshallah I'm going to share my exact Ramadan fat loss diet that I've been following to lose fat, and then some of the principles and diets that are working for my clients, depending on the different types of people we have, so that no matter what kind of person you are, your goals, your fitness level, and anything else that may pertain to the differences that we need to implement to make your perfect Ramadan diet, you'll be able to learn it inshallah. So let's dive in, and I'm really excited to share my exact Ramadan diet that's working for me right now. We're gonna do a little screen share inshallah, and here we go, bismillah. So my exact Ramadan fat loss diet for maximum energy and fat loss while maintaining, potentially even building muscle. Okay, so this is revolutionary stuff. Actually, it's just basic science, but inshallah, for many people, it's revolutionary. So first off, the question is probably inside of your mind: is it possible to burn fat and have more energy in Ramadan without losing muscle? Yes. When you get your body burning fat for energy, which is a combination of both training and diet, you're going to end up having more energy, inshallah, during the day and at night, so you can do more Ibadah, which is the actual purpose of Ramadan, especially the last 10 nights while I'm recording this, and make the most of Ramadan, and your physique looks better at the end too, instead of looking worse, okay? And here's an example of how I looked at the beginning of this year versus, alhamdulillah, how I look mid-Ramadan. Alhamdulillah, we lost fat, and we're continuing to lose fat in Ramadan. And I'm going to show you the exact rate of fat loss and how to predict your rate of fat loss, inshallah. So if you've ever struggled with feeling tired and drained during Ramadan, we're going to show you how to actually increase your energy levels by burning fat for energy during Ramadan and optimizing your energy as a whole through a number of different pathways, inshallah. I'm going to show you how to avoid gaining fat during Ramadan, inshallah. And I'm also going to show you how to get past any plateaus if you struggle to lose it despite trying very hard to lose fat during Ramadan. I'm also going to help you overcome your struggles with losing muscle during Ramadan and losing months of progress in the gym. And of course, again, if this is you, this is for you, and it's going to fix all the above, inshallah, because I'm sharing a lot of what's worked for me after I made a lot of the same mistakes that you may be making right now. So let me show you what the most common mistakes are that people make when it comes to what they're doing during Ramadan, which is the reason why they gain fat, have poor energy levels, and lose muscle. So we'll talk first about the reason why people tend to gain fat. They either eat too much, which prevents you from being in a calorie deficit, therefore you don't lose weight. And if you're in a calorie surplus, especially from low quality foods, really, really high in fat, really, really high in sugar, all that stuff, which is what we tend to do during Ramadan, you're actually going to end up gaining body fat. And another reason is even people who are trying to lose weight because they're trying to eat healthy, they don't actually track and plan their food properly. And they might be poorly estimating their food. See, it's funny because even me as a fitness professional, if I just kind of eyeball stuff, it's very easy for me to be very inaccurate with my numbers. Versus when you actually track properly and you at least track for a couple weeks so you can learn what you're actually putting in your body, it gives you a lot more perspective. I'm going to show you an exact inventory of exactly what I'm eating right now and the exact predicted rate of fat loss. And you'll see why my results have actually been a little bit slower during Ramadan than before Ramadan, but how some of my clients are actually getting faster results in Ramadan because the equation is working in their favor and we're able to make it work with their priorities, their lifestyle, everything else to have maximum energy and maximum clarity of mind and focus while also losing fat. So this stuff is amazing, inshallah. Now, the second thing, the second big mistake that people make is consuming low quality, micronutrient poor, but calorie dense foods at Iftar that make you feel tired, bloated, gassy, inflamed, food coma, lazy, unable to make it to Taraweeh, and if you do end up making it, you're not able to focus, okay? And this is crazy because when we do all the deep fried stuff, all the desserts, all that stuff, those foods are very calorie dense, but oftentimes are micronutrient poor, and so as a result, we're not actually giving our body a lot of good nutrition, we're just giving our body a lot of bad nutrition, a lot of junk calories that end up just stacking body fat onto our body every single day, especially after not fasting all day, then it kills our energy levels, so then our body's sitting around in rest and digest and storage mode, storing all those excessive, unhealthy calories and not really getting a whole lot of positive nutrition out of those foods, okay? So if you're doing deep fried bread dough dipped in syrup, aka gulab jamun, which I know I'm pronouncing wrong, it's like gulab jamun or whatever, but I like pronouncing it wrong because I don't respect the food gulab jamun because it's bad for you and you shouldn't put that junk in your body. Allah gave you this beautiful body, this beautiful car. What are you going to do? If your friend loans you a beautiful car worth millions of dollars, you're just going to put junk fuel in it and ruin the engine? Because that's what you're doing with this body that Allah gave you that's worth more than millions of dollars. Because would you take a $5 million car, but you have to chop off an arm? You probably wouldn't, right? So your arm alone is worth more than $5 million. So why would you trash the body that Allah gave you, right? So anyway, stop putting junk in your body. Now, another thing is obviously if you eat, junk food for Iftar, it's going to interfere with your ability to have energy and focus during Taraweeh. But the other issue is if you do make it to Taraweeh, you're not going to be able to focus. You're going to have gas. You're going to be burping, distracting everybody else around you, which is a huge pet peeve of mine. So please don't be consuming bad foods. And even if you eat healthy and you still get a lot of gas, Obviously, you want to audit which foods are making you gassy and remove those foods from your diet because you don't want to just be having chronic inflammation, gassiness, bloatedness all the time. But you can also get some digestive enzymes. And inshallah, I'll create another video soon, probably for Instagram, on like what are the 5 best supplements you can take during Ramadan. There's a really good digestive enzyme called Masszymes. You can search it up on Amazon. It's excellent. Okay. Then the other big mistake people make on the topic of low quality foods is if you're doing low quality foods for sahur that kill your energy levels during the day, obviously that's another reason why you're gaining body fat as well. Okay. So I know that there's a lot of reasons, and I know I just shared a lot of mistakes, and you might be kind of kicking yourself right now like, wow, I'm making pretty much all those mistakes already, but let's keep going. Let me show you all the other mistakes. Okay. So the other thing, and this ties in with the above, which is like if your macros aren't set properly. And again, the biggest mistake that people make, which correlates with the above when it comes to their macros, is they're eating way too many fats. Okay, dietary fats, you're eating like 100, 200 grams of fat a day. Okay, your diet is also too high in simple sugars. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with eating dates, and I'll show you how I fit dates into my plan. I actually eat a pretty decent amount of dates. Okay, but it depends on the person. Some people could just eat 1 date a day. Others can eat like 6+ dates a day. I even actually have some people who eat fruit bowls. I don't know if we're gonna have time to go through all the client meal plans, but I can obviously answer questions in the comments below, inshallah. So those are the mistakes people make: way too high in fat, way too high in simple sugars, generally from unhealthy foods. Because obviously, like fruits are fine. Like fruit sugar is generally fine. I mean, obviously, if you eat like 2,000 calories of fruit sugar, that's a little excessive. But if you eat like a bowl of fruits or like a cup or two of fruit chot, it's very easy to fit into your diet as long as it's just fruit, because fruits are healthy. They have a lot of good micronutrients. They're a micronutrient dense food, and they're not very calorie dense, as long as you're not like dousing it with oil or adding sprinkling sugar on top of your fruit or some other, terrible habits and ideas like that. Okay. And then of course, probably one of the biggest mistakes that people make is they eat way too little protein in Ramadan. Okay. So if you are following a diet that is overly high in fat, overly high in simple sugars, way too low in protein, then your energy levels are going to suffer. You're going to feel hungry during your fast, like excessively hungry. You're going to probably gain fat, especially if you're eating a lot of those calorie-dense foods that people tend to eat, and you're going to lose muscle because you're not getting enough protein, okay? So the other big mistake that people make is they do not work out consistently, or they don't work out properly. Now, this video I already anticipate is going to be pretty long. I'm going to try to keep it short, but I tend to make my videos pretty long unintentionally because I have a lot to say. But I have a bunch of other videos on how to train properly. Okay, so if you're on my YouTube right now, just go search in my thing like the strength training guide. I have a 2-part series, 45 minutes each, so an hour and a half total of exactly how to strength train from beginner to advanced, along with a PDF resource on how to actually warm up properly so you don't hurt yourself. And if you're on Instagram watching this, okay, just comment down below with the word strength on any of my posts, and I have an automation that'll send you that 2-part series on YouTube so you can easily access it, inshallah. Okay, but yeah, make sure you're training properly. And I also have a couple Instagram videos on like how to adjust your training during Ramadan, because you do need to train a little bit. You always got to train intelligently, but you do need to switch a couple of variables like your intensity and stuff during Ramadan. And then the other big mistake that people make is they don't space out their protein to optimize protein synthesis. So studies have shown that when people do intermittent fasting, right, so that could be correlated to our Ramadan fasting, they can get equal protein synthesis to people who are not doing intermittent fasting by having at least 3 separate feedings of protein. So let's say you're doing protein at Iftar, you do a little bit of protein post-Iftar, and you do protein for sahur, there's your 3 feedings of protein, okay? Now when I say protein, it doesn't have to be a protein shake. Protein shake can work, and I do use quite a bit of shakes in Ramadan to just make sure I'm hitting my intake, but it could also be meat. I have a lot of clients who just prefer to get it from chicken, from Greek yogurt, from all these other different options that you have. So I'll go through all those as well. Eggs, there's a lot of different options, and I'll show you all the different foods that I eat specifically and why, okay? So you do need to space out your protein intake to optimize protein synthesis, in addition to getting net total enough protein per day. And then lastly, the other big mistake people make, which is probably the hardest one to fix, because all the other ones are pretty easy to fix if you know how to just set some basic boundaries, give your family some basic education, and do a little bit of basic meal prep. Pretty easy to solve. And I even have some solutions that we may have some time for today on what to do when you're at a family iftar, just to make sure that you're not going to eat junk that messes up your energy for tarawih and kills your health and fitness and trashes the body that Allah gave you. You definitely don't want to be doing that, okay? So I'm going to share some knowledge on that, but even if we don't have time in today's video, I have other videos on like Instagram and I believe YouTube. Actually, I have plenty on YouTube as well that talk about how to do that. But the biggest mistake that people make that is hard to solve, okay, and all these are the biggest mistakes people make, but the last big mistake people make is they don't sleep enough, okay? So the ideal is to sleep 7 to 9 hours a night, or net total per day. So let's say you're on a nocturnal sleep schedule, which a lot of people, like if you're a business owner, you have a flexible schedule, you can do this during Ramadan, sleep from like 6 a.m. after Fajr to 1 p.m. You can get 7 hours, okay? 7 hours a day, no problem. It doesn't have to be at night. Just make sure you wear an eye mask if you're sleeping during the day so your body can get into a deeper state of sleep, because if the sun is out and you don't have an eye mask, then your body's kind of percepting that light, and it's going to prevent you from getting in as deep of a sleep. But if you can get a dark room, or you can at least make your room as dark as possible, wear an eye mask, you can get pretty deep sleep, inshallah. But I know for a lot of people it's impossible, especially a lot of parents, a lot of 9-to-5ers. But at the same time, you can get more than 3 to 4 hours a night. Maybe not during the last 10 nights, which I know at the time I'm recording this and posting it, we're just getting into the last 10 nights. I just want to make sure I get out this last piece of Ramadan content before I, kind of step back from content a little bit to focus on the last 10 nights. That way we have clips for the rest of the last 10 days of Ramadan. But, at the same time, if you're only sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night, it shows a lack of time management. How much time are you wasting scrolling on social media when you could be taking a nap during the day, or when you could be doing Ibadah at night, or when you could be going to bed earlier? Again, during the last 10 nights, it may not be the case, but save this video for next Ramadan so that the first 20 days you don't burn yourself out, okay? And you can also utilize some sleep to get a little bit of rest. Maybe, if you're trying to really prioritize the odd nights, you can get a little bit of rest on the even nights so you have more energy on the odd nights. I don't want to encourage anybody to miss Ibadah, so try to nap during the day, especially at the end of Ramadan. Try to take some time off from work if that's possible for you, okay, or scale back a bit on the business. But the point is, 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night, I guarantee you're wasting time somewhere. Look at the screen time app on your phone. What are you wasting time on? And where we can get a little bit of sleep for the purpose of having more energy and focus for Ibadah, but also for our fitness results and our health and taking care of the body that Allah gave us as an act of our Ibadah and respect to Allah, right? So if you can even increase from 3 to 4 to like 5 or maybe even 6, that'll make a huge difference, inshallah, for your energy levels, as well as for your metabolism, your hormones, your health, your body composition, your strength, everything. And at the end of the day, if it allows you to do a little bit more Ibadah, then it was worth it. Again, it's all about that net Ibadah. What's going to give us the greatest output total for the month of Ramadan? A lot of it is learning how to pace ourselves. Doesn't mean to skip anything, but it means to pace ourselves and to be intelligent with our recovery, including sleep, okay? So anyways, it's going to differ from person to person, but do as best as you can, inshallah. Okay, so let's go on the flip side. What should you do right, okay? How do you actually make sure that you burn fat, have more energy, and you don't lose muscle? Well, in order to burn fat, you only need basically 3 things. You need to be in a calorie deficit without going too low. So this is a combination of both nutrition and exercise. It doesn't mean just go insanely low in calories. It means, I never want anybody to go below their basal metabolic rate in calories per day. Now, before somebody, because there's always somebody in the comments who says, oh, we don't all have a biology degree, how are you going to assume that we know these terms, basal metabolic rate? You can Google this pretty simply. In fact, if you search up BMR, basal metabolic rate, so BMR calculator, you can actually find a free calculator that'll tell you your basal metabolic rate online. Now, I'll just define the term for you. Basal metabolic rate refers to the amount of calories that you would burn per day if you literally laid in bed all day or you were in a coma, okay? So for me, my basal metabolic rate and my current body weight, height, age is roughly, according to these calculators, 1900. Now, if I put in my body fat percentage, it's actually probably closer to 2000 because I have a lot more lean mass and a lot less fat than most people who are my height and weight. However, I like to go with the conservative measurement, so I'll never go below 1900 in calories per day. In fact, I actually prefer not to go below 2000 to 2100 because through my activity levels, I actually burn about 1000 calories per day on average, which allows me to be in a pretty good deficit because I'm burning, at least 2900 calories a day, which means, and I'll show you the math later, which means if I want to lose a pound of fat per day, I could literally, not per day, per week, I could eat 2400 calories, which puts me in a deficit of 500 calories per day, and then you multiply that by 7 days in a week, which is 3,500, which is the amount of calories you need to burn a single pound of fat. And I'll show you the math. I actually have a calculation later in this presentation as well. Okay, so you do need to be in a calorie deficit, and again, you can use an online calculator to roughly estimate this, assuming you're metabolically healthy. If you're metabolically unhealthy, meaning you may have like hypothyroidism or some hormone issues or some chronic inflammation or some liver issues, or you might have had an organ removed at some point. May Allah make it easy on you, but at the same time, we're going to have to make a couple different changes, and especially for a more severe case, like if you had an organ removed or something, then you may actually need to go see a specialist doctor. For instance, if you have kidney disease or you had your kidneys removed, then we're going to obviously not be able to do as much protein. However, I know that that's only maybe 1% or less of the population. I want to gear this towards the 99% of people who are either metabolically healthy, or they have something more minor, like hypothyroidism, very easy to solve. PCOS for females, very easy to solve. Low testosterone for men, in many cases, easy to solve. In some cases, you may need to see an endocrinologist or a specific doctor for this, but a lot of the times we've taken plenty of guys who have low testosterone and got them to have high testosterone. In fact, most of my clients, I don't think, maybe in my whole history of training over 1,000 clients, I've maybe had 2 clients who needed to get on TRT or who are already on TRT. But for the majority of our clients, we have had literally dozens of guys who came in with low testosterone through fixing their nutrition, their micronutrients, a little bit of supplementation with like zinc, vitamin D, whatever they were missing, specifically magnesium, glycine, whatever it might have been. There's a lot of supplements we can implement to improve testosterone levels if you have low T, right? So, we've had dozens of guys who came in with low T, and then also losing body fat improves your testosterone levels, eating the right foods, avoiding the wrong foods. There's a lot of things we can do to boost test, where most guys, dozens of them, have come in and not had to get on TRT. In fact, we've even had some guys come off TRT because we're able to naturally improve their testosterone levels. And I know that I have some followers who have asked me about this who are currently on TRT. So inshallah, I'll have some more videos on that coming out soon on how to get off testosterone replacement therapy, or how to optimize your natural testosterone levels as a man, especially in your 30s and 40s. But even a lot of guys in their 20s have low T these days because of all the pollution in the environment and a lot of the not only media but substances that we are kind of forced to consume by, and there's conspiracy theories on this, but the point is men's testosterone levels are a lot lower than they were many years ago, and whatever you want to attribute to that, whether it's a conspiracy theory, which, I may or may not believe some of them, right? The point is we need to do everything we can to optimize our testosterone levels as a man, and this also affects women because when estrogen is too high relative to progesterone, this can cause some hormonal weight gain for women as well. So it benefits nobody to have excessively high levels of estrogen, so we gotta, there's a lot of things we can do to lower this. There's even some foods we can eat that lower estrogen as well. So again, I'll do some videos on that as well, inshallah. Anyways, point is, so calorie deficit. Now, next up, burn fat, okay? See, this is why these videos are so long as I go on these tangents. So the next thing is we want to make sure that we're consuming high quality micronutrient dense foods that boost our energy levels and do not make us bloated, gassy, inflamed. So there's some personal preference involved in this. There's some genetics and biology. For instance, one food that actually improves your testosterone levels by lowering your estrogen is broccoli. However, broccoli, especially the stems, contain some highly fermentable carbohydrates that can cause actually a lot of bloating for people. So that's why some people actually notice they get a ton of bloating from broccoli. For instance, if I eat broccoli, I get super bloated, super gassy. It is a nightmare, right? Especially if I combine it with high protein foods, it's an absolute nightmare for myself and the people around me. Versus, I have some clients who can eat broccoli all day, no problems at all. So I avoid broccoli very strictly, but carrots are another food that can reduce estrogen and therefore increase testosterone. And I respond extremely well to carrots, and a lot of people do respond well to carrots. I did have one client, again, out of sample size over 1,000, who did get constipated from carrots, and I had another client who would sometimes get digestive issues from carrots, but that's like 0.02% of my personal experience sample size. Obviously, I don't know what the actual general population sample size or percentage is, but there is a small percentage of people who get issues from carrots, but most people don't. Versus, I've had many people report that they get issues from broccoli. Okay. And then lastly, and this factors in with the calorie deficit, but it goes a little deeper than that, we need proper macronutrients for muscular maintenance and performance and energy. So as you may have seen in some of my other content, obviously we always need to keep protein high. That's very important to keep muscle, because if you lose muscle, then you're not actually burning fat, and also your metabolism slows down, which halts your progress. Okay, so we got to both lift and get enough protein so that we don't lose muscle, so that our metabolism stays fast, so that we actually look good once we've lost all the fat, because we actually have muscle underneath, and hopefully build muscle throughout the process of fat loss. But we also got to optimize for performance and energy. So I do find that carbohydrates at night work really well in Ramadan, as you may have seen in some of my videos. Now, later in this presentation, which we're not going to have time to go deep into the client meal plans today, but I do have a client actually where we avoid carbs at Iftar because I do make them tired later into night, even if we use very clean carb sources, versus most people do well on carbs at Iftar. Now, on the flip side, at Sahur, I tend to avoid carbs, especially for most of my clients under the age of 40, because most people, and not everybody, but what I've noticed, at least with my clients, is people under the age of 40 tend to burn through carbs more quickly, to where you're going to get more of a blood sugar crash later in the day. Versus what I've noticed with actually most of my clients over 40, it's not like 40 is some magic number. Obviously, I have some guys over 40 who do no carbs and they do well in it with Sahur, and I have some guys under 40 who do well with carbs at Sahur. But what I've noticed is there's something about guys in their 40s and females in their 40s, but especially guys actually, where they tend to do well on carbs in the morning, and then once you get like way older, like for instance, my grandparents actually do well on carbs with their Sahur, because again, in their 70s, mashallah, their metabolism is so much slower, and the way that they oxidize carbs is so much slower that, again, they the carbs are not going to last, or the carbs are going to last them all day long. However, I do have a friend who's a 60-year-old professional bodybuilder who, if he was going to fast, and he's not Muslim, right? He's one of my friends from the gym, but if he burns through carbs so quickly, he needs to eat every 3 hours. His metabolism's so fast, mashallah, even though he's 60, to where if he was going to do Ramadan, he would need to do like low carb Sahur with higher fats, which is what I usually advise for most, young metabolically healthy people. Now, my dad on the flip side, actually, my dad is 60, actually 61 now, mashallah. So he does well on carbs in the morning, and he actually runs right after sahur. So he actually does really well on carbs throughout the day during his fast. Now, I haven't actually gotten him to experiment doing less carbs with his sahur because he's so adamant on his oatmeal. I mean, I guess I could try harder, but it's working for him, so I'm not gonna mess with it if it isn't working. So that's the point, though, is so for some people, they do well on carbs at sahur, but I've noticed with most people, especially under the age of 40, you're going to do better with less carbs at sahur. Okay, so that's just for the point of like fat loss, right? But I factor in a bit of energy. And why is energy important for fat loss? Well, we want to make sure that we have enough energy to be active during the day, for our brain to burn calories, for our cognitive performance to be on point during the day, so that we're burning well, number one, so that we have the energy to pray Dohar, pray Asr, and focus and do the extra Ibadah, so we can function at work and perform at work, so that we can be patient, positive, present, and be leaders and the fathers and mothers we need to be for our family. But also, it's going to help you burn more calories because you actually have energy during the day. Therefore, it's going to be easier for you to stay in a deficit, which is going to help you lose more weight. Okay? So now let's go into the point of more energy, which we did factor into it within burning fat. Okay? So when it comes to having more energy, you want to make sure that you're eating high quality, micronutrient dense foods that boost your energy and do not make you feel bloated, gassy, and inflamed. So like I said before, this does depend a bit on personal preference and genetics and biology. Okay? And again, I have other videos that go into this for like sahur and iftar on YouTube. If you watch this on YouTube, I got a ton of them. Just go on my page and look at the most popular videos, and it's the ones on sahur and iftar. And here on Instagram as well, you will also see that my most popular videos do tend to be the ones on like sahur and iftar strategy from the last couple of weeks, inshallah. So check those out for sure. And then from there, we want to make sure that we're getting the proper macros for performance and energy. So again, I do tend to find that getting in some healthy fats, always with high protein at sahur, tends to be the best for having energy all day long. Okay. And then if you want to have energy in the evening, usually it's better to keep the fats lower and keep the carbs higher. And the problem is if you eat high fat with high carbs, it's just such a load on your stomach. The fats and carbs kind of just sit there in your stomach together. Your pancreas has to produce so many enzymes to digest it all, and you end up getting really tired. And I've noticed this. If I do fatty meats with the exact same carbs that I eat at night, for iftar, I get tired and I get into a food coma, versus if I stick with the lean meats, which I'm going to show you exactly what I eat a little bit later in this video, then inshallah, what I notice for myself is that I'm way less likely to get a food coma, even if I eat a lot, okay? And I have energy for Tarawih and I feel good, and then I also have energy to work out after Tarawih. Okay, and that's the time that I personally find works best for me to work out during Ramadan. Now, lastly, the third priority and what we need to do properly to maintain muscle is we need to get enough protein, okay? So for a lot of people, a good starting point is 1 gram per pound in body weight and protein a day. Now, if you're at a very high body fat percentage, you can go with 1 gram per pound in lean body mass. So let's say that you're under 6'3" or under 6'4", and you weigh over 200 pounds, you probably don't need more than 200 grams of protein a day. However, let's say you're like a really skinny guy who struggles to gain muscle, and every Ramadan you lose like 10 pounds of muscle and you weigh 170. You might also need 220 grams of protein a day because you're a hard gainer. So it does depend on the individual's metabolism. However, there are also some hard gainers who only need 0.7 grams per pound in lean body mass and protein a day, and they just use protein really efficiently. So there's a lot of variance for like how much protein people need. But generally, I just like to start at 1 gram per pound in body weight and protein a day, cap it at 200 unless you're a man who's over 6'3", 6'4". And for females, I find that most females don't need more than 150 grams of protein a day. Even a woman who weighs like 240, 250 pounds, 260. We've had a woman who weigh in that range who didn't need more than 150 grams of protein a day. I suppose I've never had a woman who was over 6 feet tall, but if a woman was over 6 feet tall and like 300 pounds, she might need 200 grams of protein a day, especially if she was a high level athlete. I'm sure some of the professional strong women who compete in that sport probably need 200, possibly even 300 grams a day, because obviously professional athletes need quite a bit. In fact, a lot of bodybuilders need 300, 400 plus. But obviously, if you're watching this, if you're a bodybuilder, you probably are already pretty dialed in with your nutrition to where you're probably not watching this, to where if you're watching this, you're probably somebody who's struggled to get results during Ramadan, struggled to know what to eat. So it's very unlikely that you're at such an advanced level that would apply to you. So generally 1 gram per pound in body weight is a very good place to start. Cap it at 200 for men, 150 for women is generally the easy rule of thumb without specifically consulting you and testing it out on yourself, inshallah. Okay. So that's important. Eat enough protein. From there, make sure you're spreading it into 3 separate feedings of protein. So iftar, post-tarawih / post-workout if you're working out after tarawih, and sahur. There gives you those 3 separate protein feedings to ensure that you're getting enough total, spikes of protein synthesis throughout the day, as optimal absorption as possible. By the way, it's a myth that you can only absorb 30 grams of protein at any one time. If you eat more than 30 grams of protein at any one time, it doesn't increase the amount of protein synthesis. However, it's not like your body just wastes it. However, we do want to get enough spikes in protein synthesis throughout the whole entire 24-hour and especially for us within our 11, 12-hour eating window, depending on what part of the world you live in. So that's why I like to do the 3 separate feedings of protein, because that's what the research shows is people who fast can have equal protein synthesis to people who are eating like, 4, 5, 6 meals a day throughout the whole day, as long as you're getting 3 separate feedings of protein. And that's what I found with myself and my clients as well, is it is best to spread out that protein intake in those 3 separate protein feedings or more, right? Sometimes you could do 4 if you're going nocturnal mode during Ramadan as well, okay? So now the next thing you need to make sure you do to maintain muscle is lift weights properly or do some form of proper resistance training 3 to 4 times a week. Again, see my other videos on how to do that, because we're already pretty far into this video and we're going to run out of time for a lot of things. Okay, and then adequate sleep is also important for all of the above. And it's also going to help you to focus more when you're doing Ibadah, when you're working, and it's going to help you be more patient and positive with your family, as well as with your fellow, Muslims at the masjid during the congregational prayers. So if somebody's burping next to you and you only got 3 hours of sleep, you're going to get really mad, right? If somebody's like obsessively scratching themselves and moving and swaying excessively during the prayer, you're going to get really mad if you only got 3 hours of sleep a night. I mean, and inshallah, it's always a test from Allah whenever you go through these types of things. So use it as an opportunity to build more sabr, to build more patience, but also optimize your sleep so you're less likely to have a moment where you're angry at somebody. So if you're getting 7 hours of sleep, you'll be able to be a lot more patient with those things. It's still annoying when somebody has a smelly burp next to you and keeps burping, or somebody's coughing on you, or somebody keeps moving around, distracting you and making noises and stuff. But it's part of the challenge of Ramadan. Ramadan has a lot of tests, and you know what? It's a blessing if you think about it. When you are next to somebody who's a little bit distracting, because it gives you an opportunity to be patient and have sabr, and if you do it for the sake of Allah, you get good deeds for it. So there's always a positive way of framing things, and wondrous is the affair of the believer. When something good happens, he says alhamdulillah. When something bad happens, he says alhamdulillah, because it's all khair when you have faith in Allah and when you keep Allah at the forefront of your intention. All right. So anyways, when you follow all the above positive things, you're going to feel more energized and charged up during Ramadan while losing fat, maintaining muscle, inshallah. You're going to lose fat during Ramadan and successfully see the results of your efforts, inshallah, instead of feeling frustrated that you're doing so much and seeing no results, okay? You're also going to find that when you follow the above steps and tips that you're going to maintain muscle, inshallah, during Ramadan and possibly even gain muscle during Ramadan and continue to see progress in your health and fitness journey and in your physique. And I will say one thing, make sure that you're focusing on form during Ramadan, because you're not going to be able to lift as heavy, but you can focus on form. So if you're like a skinny guy who's trying to gain muscle, or even a skinny girl who's trying to gain muscle, focus on form so that after Ramadan, you can leverage the post-Ramadan rebound to gain a ton of muscle, because you've perfected your form during Ramadan and built really good motor unit recruitment inside of your muscles and really good mind-muscle connection. And also you've built a little bit of muscle during Ramadan, and then you're going to really be able to grow very quickly after Ramadan, inshallah. So let's dive into how I do it for myself, both fat loss and muscle growth, and how I do it for clients. So here's my exact diet, head to toe, why it works for me, and then what's going to work for you depending on who you are. And there's a couple key variables to consider, right? So obviously like your goals, your personal preferences, your current fitness level, your dieting history, etc. Your schedule, with work, kids, school, or the lack thereof, right? Whatever it may be. So obviously we're going to talk about that a little bit, but I just want to go into what I do. So here's a picture of me making eggs, a couple pictures of me making eggs, and then here's a picture of my exact suhoor that I do pretty much every day. There's 6 eggs, 2 Greek yogurts, and 2 scoops of protein, right? And the fruit there is just a fruit bowl, but I don't actually eat the fruit with suhoor. I do my fruit at Iftar, okay? So again, the total of that is 790 calories, 102 grams of protein, 30 grams of fat, and less than 10 grams of carbs. Okay, so 6 eggs is 420 calories, 36 grams of protein, 30 grams of fat. 2 Chobani Zeros is 120 calories, 22 grams of protein. 2 scoops of Levels grass-fed whey is 250 calories, about 48 grams of protein, but I just rounded up to 50 because it's basically the same thing. So I guess technically I'm eating 100, not 102 grams of protein, but same difference. I mean, 2% margin of error, right? So most people are not going to need this much food. Okay, in fact, I don't have a single client who needs as much food as I do. But obviously it depends on your needs and preferences. I have some clients who are very advanced who are benching like 315 plus who don't actually need that much, okay? A lot of my clients are maybe even doing just 1 to 2 eggs. Some of them are doing 3 to 4. I don't think I have anybody doing 5, and I definitely don't have anybody doing 6. And some days I'll do 4 if my appetite isn't quite there, or I ate a lot the night before, but usually I'll do 6 eggs, okay? 2 Chobani Zeros. Many of my clients I have them doing 2 because again, it's only 120 calories and it's a nice boost in protein, 22 grams of protein. Chobani Zero Sugar Greek yogurt specifically, right? Because Oikos Triple Zero is great. It's got 90 calories and 15 grams of protein, but Chobani Zero is even lower calories, so you can even eat more, which is great. So I have many clients who are doing 2, some who are doing 1, nobody's doing 3 for sahur, right? And then 2 scoops of whey protein. I have many clients who are only doing 1. I have many clients who are doing 2. So a lot of my clients are kind of more in the 75 gram of protein range on the men's side for sahur, and most of my female clients are more in the 50 gram protein range. Now I do have some people who are going as low as 27 to 30 grams of protein on the female side. On the men's side, I do have some men who are going as low as 40 to 50. Probably no less than 50 though. I can't think specifically of any men who I have who are doing less than 50 grams of protein for sahur, but I'm sure we probably do somewhere. But again, usually we're getting, at least 50 grams of protein. Now I do actually have one client. The guy is built like an absolute tank. He actually has more energy if he skips sahur, which is crazy. But again, that's an anomaly. From working with over 1,000 clients, we've only had one who has more energy when he does sahur, or when he skips sahur. I did also have another client who just skipped sahur because logistically he just couldn't fit his schedule. He was a 48-year-old doctor who, with I think 3 kids, works at 4 different hospitals. He's like a senior oncologist, mashallah. So he literally, time-wise, Ramadan for doctors is a nightmare. I've got a lot of clients who are doctors, and mashallah, it's very, very hard. Allahumma barak. But at least you don't end up eating lunch at the unhealthy cafeteria food that they, weirdly enough, give healthcare professionals. I don't understand why they give such unhealthy food to healthcare professionals, because it's, very ironic and unfortunate. But I usually have my doctor's meal prep or, whatever it may be. But anyway, before I go on a tangent with that, so again, I've had 2 people, one who skips sahur because he has more energy and he burns just as much fat and recovers just as well from the gym because he's 25 years old, he's built like a tank, amazing genetics, mashallah. And then I also had the 48-year-old doctor who logistically couldn't fit it in. Now the 48-year-old doctor also had pretty good genetics for muscle growth and muscular recovery, to where he was still actually recovering well from his workouts, even though he was only doing that 1 protein feeding at Iftar. Okay, but again, that's the anomaly. Most people are going to do better with more spread out of protein feedings, and most people are going to have more energy if they do sahur and eat a significant amount of food at sahur. Okay, especially a lot of protein. The main takeaways from this is you need to get a lot of protein at sahur, and generally for most people we find that low carb works best, and higher fats, versus for every other meal and every other meal outside of Ramadan, we usually find that low fat and higher carb works better. Okay, so what do I eat for Iftar? So on a workout day, I eat 800 to 920 calories, 75 grams of protein, 136 grams of carbs, and less than 5 grams of fat. Okay? Yeah, crazy, right? How can I eat that much carbs and that much protein with less than 5 grams of fat? Well, let me show you. 3 dates, which is 45 grams of carbs, 180 calories, 2 scoops of protein, which is 250 calories, 50 grams of protein, 1 liquid IV hydration mix, which is 11 grams of carbs, 45 calories, 2 bowls of lentil soup, and I'll inshallah share this recipe soon on Instagram and maybe YouTube Shorts as well, inshallah. 2 bowls of lentil soup, 80 grams of carbs, 320 calories, 3 to 4, and it's actually probably a little bit more calories than that because I'm not really counting the protein, and then obviously it's 80 grams of carbs, but net carbs, so a lot of that's fiber, but it's roughly 320 calories. 3 to 4 ounces of grilled chicken breast, which is just under 25 grams of protein, 125 calories. And then I've got some pretty pictures of what these foods look like as well. Now, this is an actual picture of my sahur. These are pictures I found online of dates and milk, lentil soup, and grilled chicken, because usually at iftar time I'm busy making dua and then eating, so I don't really have time to take the pictures, or don't even think to take the pictures, but this is pretty much what it looks like if my lighting and camera setup was perfect. All right, cool. Now on non-workout days though, I eat 760 calories and 100 grams of protein, 66 grams of carbs, less than 5 grams of fat. So the protein goes up, the carbs go down, and how does that happen? 1 date instead of 3, still 2 scoops of protein, still the liquid IV hydration mix, but only 1 bowl of lentil soup, and we double the protein amount to 8 ounces of grilled chicken breast, 50 grams of protein, 250 calories. So today was a rest day from the gym. Okay, so that's pretty much exactly what I ate, is exactly what you see on the screen right there. Actually, it's exactly what I ate. So anyways, now on a workout day, between Tarawih, so after Tarawih and before the gym, I go to my car and I have rice cakes ready to go, and I eat between 240 to 320 calories, which is 60 to 80 grams of carbs of rice cakes. Okay, and then after Tarawih, and then after Tarawih / after the gym, I often do another 760 to 1,065 calories. Again, this is on training day, and 75 to 100 grams of protein. So again, the rice cakes between Tarawih and gym. After the gym, 2 scoops of protein, and I usually sip those actually during my workout. 1 liquid IV hydration mix again, 1 bowl of lentil soup, okay? 4 to 8 ounces of chicken breast, depending on how much appetite I have, and about 3 to 6 dates, okay? So we're getting a lot of post-workout carbs. Now, on the flip side, though, on non-training days, since I'm not doing the rice cakes or the shake or the extra day that's at night, my calories are a lot lower. My deficit is not created on the workout days, because on the workout days, I'm optimizing for performance and recovery. Rather, my deficit is created on the non-workout days because I'm still getting my steps in during the day, so that the amount of calories I'm burning is still an average of 1,000 calories a day, so that I'm in a net deficit. I'll show you the calculation at the end of the slideshow as well, or towards the end. But yeah, so instead of doing all that at night, I'll do protein chips and 1 to 3 Greek yogurts, okay? So protein chips is 20 grams of protein, 140 calories, and each Chobani Zero is 60 calories and 11 grams of protein. So my total on non-training days post-tarawih is 200 to 320 calories and 31 to 53 grams of protein. So my total for the day on a training day is between 2,570 and 3,110 calories and 252 to 277 grams of protein. So again, it's a lot more than what most people need. And again, going back to I think I forgot to mention somewhere in here, or I think I explained it a little bit later. I'll explain later how you should actually probably do less carbs during your personal sahur. Like you probably only need 40 to 80 grams of carbs during Iftar. You probably only need 40 to 80 grams of carbs during Iftar because you probably don't have the performance demands that I do as an athlete when it comes to my workouts, okay? For your workouts, you probably only need 40 to 80 grams of carbs to perform at your peak, okay? But you should up the protein to where you're getting, 8 ounces, depending on your appetite. If you have a small appetite, especially for a lot of females, you could do 4 ounces. But for a lot of men, you want to eat a lot of meat at Iftar. You just feel hungry. So, 8 ounces is perfect. That way you fill up on the meat instead of filling up on junk. Okay. And I think later in this presentation as well, I talk about what to do at family Iftars. Okay. So just to go back into what's working for me though. So that's what I eat on training days. On non-training days, I'm eating between 2,120 to 2,180 calories and between 232 and 266 grams of protein, okay? And I burn roughly 2,800 to 3,100 a day, okay? So my average calories burned per day is about 2,950, assuming the Apple Watch is accurate and that the BMR calculator is accurate, okay? So my weekly calories burned, if you take my average of 2,950 and you multiply that by 7, I burn about 20,650 calories per week. Okay, again, assuming Apple Watch and the BMR calculator is accurate. Now, my weekly intake, if you add up my 4 non-workout days and my 3 workout days, is 18,050 calories. Okay, so the total deficit per week is about 2,600 calories. Okay, which is just over half a pound of fat per week if my Apple Watch on average logs 1,000 calories a day. Okay, that's how the math works out. And that's what I've been noticing is I'm losing, obviously at the end of the fast, I'm a lot lighter because I'm dehydrated, but I'm losing about half a pound of fat a week. So I'm getting leaner, but I'm also gaining some muscle, which is pretty nice because I'm gaining muscle at night while I'm eating and I'm losing fat during the day while I'm walking and fasting. Okay. And of course I'm doing Ibadah, I'm praying Tarawih, everything else because I have more energy, right? And that's the cool thing is when you go for walks during the fast, part of it is you break through your fat loss plateau, but number 2, or you get yourself in a deficit, which breaks you through a fat loss plateau, make sure you're losing fat, but also it gives you a lot more energy. You'll notice that if you just sit around being lazy, not moving around during your fast, you're going to get even more tired, versus if you go for a walk, you'll feel tired for the first 5-10 minutes of the walk. By the time you've been walking for a little bit though, you actually have way more energy. You're like, wow, this is such a good idea. Surprised that by burning energy, going for a walk, I actually have more energy now. It's because you get your body burning fat, and now your body's burning fat for energy, and you continue to have energy, plus movement, shifts your emotional state, it gets your blood flowing, gets more oxygen in your body, especially if you're going for an outdoor walk. There's a lot of benefits that are going to be good for your energy levels, okay? Now, I also try my best to get enough sleep, okay? So I usually sleep during Ramadan, at least this Ramadan. I haven't done this every Ramadan, but I've done this for some Ramadans, including this Ramadan. I've fallen into this rhythm where I usually sleep from 6 a.m. to 1 or 2 p.m., and I've moved around my business meetings and deep work blocks accordingly. So right now I'm doing my deep work at night, so I'm recording this at 12:51 a.m. So this is deep work, creative work, right? So all my content, I'm filming it around midnight to 2 a.m., right? Because usually it's either right after the gym or it's my deep work block. I've got energy, I'm taking caffeine, all that stuff. So I'm able to get my deep work that I would normally get done after Fajr or after the gym, which is after Fajr, outside of Ramadan. And then all my meetings I'm doing, kind of after Dhuhr, after Asr, kind of in that range. And so what that's allowed me to do, because I've moved around my business and my deep work blocks accordingly, is allowed me to have, I've scaled back a little bit from business just because I'm spending so much more time in Ibadah. So that's where I've made those sacrifices in my business and my work, as well as in my workouts, because I'm working out less frequently than I was before, but I'm still upholding my responsibilities across both business and fitness to ensure I'm still seeing progress and producing results. But moving this around has helped me to make it to Isha and Tarawih, to hit the gym afterwards, to do my deep work, then do Tahajjud, Fajr, Oftentimes I'll pray Fajr at the masjid as well. I'm trying to get that to every day. It hasn't been every day, but may Allah help me to make it every day, especially during the last 10 nights. And then I'll usually only take, so there are only 1 or 2 days that I didn't go to Tarawih this entire Ramadan so far. And may Allah make it so that there don't end up being any more. And may Allah protect us all from getting sick and give us all shifat, those of us who are sick, this Ramadan. Ameen. So I've been taking plenty of rest days from the gym though. So, usually I don't really take a whole lot of rest days from the gym because I just love it. It's my mental therapy. But certainly this Ramadan, I've been taking more rest days and making those sacrifice. So once or twice a week, I'll screw up and only get 3 to 5 hours of sleep total for the day. But for the most part, I'm pretty dialed in. Would I do it this way again? Not necessarily, because I kind of messed up my sleep cycle and I made a lot of mistakes. I mean, every Ramadan, we're going to make some mistakes and, we're not perfect and we sometimes make mistakes on our deen as well. But Allah is, the most forgiving. He is the one who pardons us, right? And so may Allah pardon our sins because Allah loves to pardon our sins. Ameen. So next Ramadan, what am I going to do? I may try a different sleep schedule. I may be productive post Fajr and sleep at night instead of sleeping after Fajr and being productive at night. But you got to do what you got to do and roll with the punches, okay? And there's some ideas. I might even try lifting after Fajr, although I'm really scared of not having my post-workout nutrition because that's an important part of my routine that I've been doing for the last 13, 14 years. Alhamdulillah. So anyways, why do these foods work for me and why don't I eat anything else? So let's go back to diet, okay? I rarely veer off this plan because anything I eat that isn't on this plan may mess with my tightly knit rhythm with my digestion, my energy levels, etc., okay? Now, there have been times where I've eaten at a friend's house and alhamdulillah, all of my friends are into health and fitness. And I don't have a lot of friends, but everybody in my circle, which isn't that many people, are into health and fitness to where like my one friend who I've eaten at his house a couple times, all the food that he makes is healthy, clean, micronutrient dense, high quality meats, everything. So, there was a day where I had a lot of rice and, some fatty cuts of chicken. But again, he got such high quality meat that there was no issues, right? We haven't done liver, but we've been planning on doing liver. I don't like liver usually, but when he makes it, it's the best thing ever. We're probably not going to end up doing it during Ramadan just because it's already the last 10 days, but inshallah soon, right? Maybe after Ramadan. But the point is, so those foods work with my digestion because everything that he makes, he's even more obsessed with digestion than I am, mashallah, right? To where I always have confidence if I go to his house and I eat at his house, the food's going to be easy to digest, right? Because he's getting high quality foods, he's prepping things in an intelligent way, etc. However, if I was to maybe go to somebody else's house and they had a bunch of deep fried stuff in canola oil, I'm not going to touch that, okay? Not because I want to be rude, but because I'm not trying to be rude to Allah by trashing the body that he gave me and killing my energy levels and showing up to my prayers distracted, okay? I'm already ADD enough. The last thing I need is to be distracted by my own stomach and my own discomfort, my own stomach pain. It's going to make it even harder for me to focus during the prayer, okay? We got to do everything we can to focus during the prayer. And may Allah help us and help me and increase you and increase all of us in our ability to focus and have khushu in our prayers. Ameen. And may Allah make nutrition a means by which we're able to achieve this. Ameen. So digestion, very, very important. There was one day where we put a little bit too much spice on the chicken here at home and it messed with my digestion significantly. There's a day where I forgot to take my I forgot, but I experimented taking out my digestive enzymes and I definitely noticed I got more bloated. So again, these are all important things that I've implemented that have made a big difference for me, alhamdulillah. So again, this is what works for me, but let's break down what works for my clients and what's going to work for you based on who you are and what you've tried, okay? So sahur, why eggs, Greek yogurt, and protein shake? Eggs have a lot of good micronutrients, including choline, which is really good for energy and focus. So this is one of the reasons why eggs are a great food for sahur, right? Eggs also have selenium. They actually have a lot of good micronutrients. There's a long list of them. They have high quality, semi-slow digesting proteins, and they have healthy fats that keep me and keep many people full and energized during the day and prevent us from getting hungry and we don't get that blood sugar crash because there's no carbs that we eat with the eggs, okay? Chobani Zero Greek yogurt. It's very delicious, low calorie, easy to eat in the morning, zero sugar. The casein protein, which is type of protein in yogurt, is very slow digesting. And there's plenty of protein, very good protein to calorie ratio. And then why do we do the grass-fed whey? Does it have to be Levels brand? No. Prime Tonics is a great brand. Healthy Foods is a great brand. But what I've been using is Levels because it's just really easy to get on Amazon. And it's a good boost in protein. And it's easy to consume in the morning. So how much of the above should you eat? It depends on your size and your needs. And again, I elaborate on this a little bit earlier in this video. Okay? Iftar, so why lentil soup? Why protein? Why dates? Why liquid IV and chicken? So dates are sunnah, right? And they're also good for hydration, replenishing liver glycogen, and starting my carb up process. Whey protein, it's a quick protein source, especially after having no protein for 12 to 13 hours. I want to get protein in my body immediately so my body can start getting into a positive state of protein synthesis, okay? Especially if my body's been catabolic, aka in a state of protein and fatty acid breakdown. I mean, your body's breaking down both proteins and fats during the day. So obviously we can leverage that and lose a bunch of fat during the day, but we want to get those proteins in so that our net protein synthesis versus muscle protein breakdown for the day is higher, meaning we've synthesized more protein than how much we've broken down for the day. AKA, therefore, we're building muscle as opposed to losing muscle. Make sense? Building and recovering muscle. Okay? Lentil soup, great for digestion, great for carving up, great for rehydration, super delicious. I absolutely love it and crave it during Ramadan. And it's been giving me a ton of fiber, which has completely prevented constipation. Between the dates, the fruits, the lentil soup, I haven't been constipated, alhamdulillah, this Ramadan. And I'm also, having occasionally carrots, actually I've only had green beans once this Ramadan, but I do occasionally add carrots. These are some of the veggie sources that digest well, that I like the taste of. Spinach is also good on digestion, but I don't like the taste as much, so I don't do it super often. And like I said before, broccoli, I don't touch broccoli. Broccoli messes me up, okay? Chicken. It's a clean protein source, low in fats, high in protein, low in calories, and it's not too hard to digest and eat for me. However, some people do get digestion issues from chicken, so be mindful of that if that's you. And you could try enzymes, but you may also have like a light food allergy to chicken. Some people actually have a food allergy to chicken, to where maybe fish is going to work better, maybe a lean source of beef or goat or something is going to be better. So it depends, but some sort of lean meat, okay? Liquid IV, very good for hydration. Like I said, I take digestive enzymes to help speed up digestion of the above because our eating window is so small and tight, okay? And also because I don't want to be bloated. So what should you do, okay? So most people who don't want to lose, for most people who want to lose weight, who don't have the high performance demands and needs of an advanced athlete where I need, a ton of carbs in my system to be able to lift the weights I want to lift, to do as many sets as I need to do, to have the endurance I need to have, to be able to perform at the speed, intensity, and explosivity that I need a lot of carbs versus most people, including, 99% chance of you, if you're watching this, you don't need as much carbs or as many carbs as I do, and you'll still be able to perform just as well in the gym. In fact, you could probably even train fasted. Some people can actually train fasted, okay? And actually some advanced athletes can train fasted too because their body actually stores and utilizes the carbs they ate the night before. But I'm not one of those people. I'm a fast carb oxidizer, so my body, if I haven't had a ton of carbs within the last couple hours, and actually I do even better if I've had a stack of carbs throughout the night, throughout the 24 to 48 hour period before a training session, my performance is not quite there. Okay, and my performance still isn't 100% what it would be outside of Ramadan, even with all these carbs. But without the carbs at all, I'd be, no endurance, no strength, no explosivity. Okay, relative to how strong I'd normally be. But again, so what you could do is you could actually do more protein. You could up to 8 ounces of chicken, like I said before, but cut the lentil soup portion in half. So kind of what I do on my non-training days. And actually, the cool thing with that is you can actually go deeper into your deficit and lose fat faster than I am. So instead of just losing like half a pound to a pound of fat a week, like what I am, you could even lose 2-3 pounds of fat per week. In fact, most of my clients right now in Ramadan are losing 2 to 3 pounds of fat per week, which is crazy. I'm actually really excited because my clients are getting better results this Ramadan than last Ramadan because of a couple of the things that we've implemented to just make sure that our clients are getting better results. So alhamdulillah, I'm glad that our program's getting better year after year. It's already been a great program for many years, alhamdulillah, and it's only getting better. So alhamdulillah, may Allah continue to let my clients lose 2 to 3 pounds per week for those who are looking to lose body fat, and for those who are looking to gain muscle, may Allah continue to help them gain muscle. Okay? But yeah, so cut the lentil soup down a bit. And then if you're at a family iftar where there's no lean cuts of chicken, you only have thighs and drumsticks, you only have like fatty beef, fatty lamb, etc., then what you can do is you can just avoid the carbs and just stack up on the meat. That way you're still getting your protein in, but you're not mixing carbs and fats, which prevents you from going too high in calories, and it prevents you from getting that deep food coma that you get when you combine, too many fats and too many carbs together, and your pancreas is forced to produce so many enzymes, which drives your body into a parasympathetic state, which makes you feel tired, okay? And then I also have my one client who, even if he goes low fat, if he has carbs, he gets tired during Tarawih. So we've gone low carb, slightly higher fats, always high protein, and that's working well for him at iftar. But that's only one person. And again, if we're working with over 1,000 people, I've only had one person who's been in that scenario who we've implemented that with. It's working well for him. But again, just to give you the stats and the likelihood that's going to be the ideal scenario for you based on who we've worked with. I'm sure there's other people out there who are going to be like that, but the likelihood is more so that you're going to do better with what works for the other 99.9% of people who we've worked with. Okay, and not everybody who we've worked with for the last 7 years now has been Muslim. So when I say 1,000 plus, actually a lot of those people were not Muslim, because it wasn't until about a year and a half ago that I went all in with the modern Muslim method and only work with Muslims now. But obviously, so I guess those numbers are slightly skewed, actually, just to be 100% factually accurate, come to think of it. But the point is, so let's say that we've worked with 500 Muslims over, so let's say that half of those clients, because 25% of them were Muslim before I went all in with the modern Muslim method, and now they're all Muslim. So let's just say 500, let's just be conservative, 400, maybe 600, but let's say 400. 1 out of 400, that's still a very small percentage, right? Okay, so let's talk about what I do before my workout. Rice cakes, okay? So why do I do rice cakes? Easy way to carb up. they seem to fill up my glycogen storage, which is the carb storage in the muscle, faster than anything else, which increases my pump and performance and energy in the gym and endurance. I usually also sip on another whey protein shake during my workout, or I'll just drink it all afterwards. I drink plenty of water during Tarawih, usually like 4 cups worth, which is 2 16-ounce bottles. And then I also drink another 16-ounce bottle before the gym, and then I drink another 1 to 2 at the gym, and also have the shake during my workout. So I end up drinking probably about a gallon a day throughout the whole night, okay? You should definitely drink water between sets of Tarawih, between, every 2 rakats of Tarawih. But again, if you're an advanced athlete, you don't need the rice. If you're not an advanced athlete, you probably don't need the rice cake because, again, your carbohydrate needs to perform are probably not as high as someone like myself or an advanced athlete, which is awesome because that allows you to get into a deeper deficit because those rice cakes add a ton of calories. So in order to perform with the level I need to perform at in the gym, I can't go in as deep of a deficit, which means I'm not able to lose as much fat as you if you're more of a beginner and you're able to go deeper in a deficit and still have plenty of energy and plenty of performance in the gym, which means you can actually lose a lot more fat than I can during Ramadan, which is a blessing. So Allahumma barak, and may Allah continue to help you lose fat and take advantage of the beginner phase to get crazy results and get as much results as possible and honor Him with a beautiful body and energy level that you can build. Ameen. And discipline that you can build, which helps you become a better Muslim, is when you're more disciplined because you're dialed in with your fitness and nutrition. Okay, so let's talk about post-workout / post-Tarawih on non-training days. The carbs and protein help me recover and replenish after the gym. The high-protein, low-calorie snacks also help me to satisfy my crunch and salty cravings and my sweets cravings while giving me a solid dose of protein, but without the excess calories. And again, like I said, I tend to be more in deficit on my non-training days because on my training days, I need all those calories to perform in the gym, or I have very lackluster workouts, okay? But like I said a couple times, if you're more of a newbie or you're less performance-oriented or you don't mind being a little weaker in the gym during Ramadan, you can be a much deeper deficit on your training days too, and you probably won't notice as much of a difference if you're a newbie or if you're not an advanced athlete. Versus an advanced athlete, you're gonna need a lot of carbs to perform, okay? So I had a couple client examples, but we're already like almost an hour into this video. So this guy, I'm actually doing a testimonial interview with him pretty soon, inshallah. This is my guy who doesn't do carbs at Iftar. So I already talked about him enough during the thing. We have many guys who are losing 2 to 3 pounds a week since the beginning of the year, as well as many females as well who are losing 2 to 3 pounds a week since the beginning of the year and during Ramadan. And then also, if you want to see a couple interviews that we did from like clients who we worked with during Ramadan 2022, Ramadan 2021 as well, then I've got this on my website. Like for instance, on my website, for instance, we have Brother Mazen who were able to fix his back pain so you can make it for the entire Tarawih. We had like Brother Jawad who lost 20 pounds in 8 weeks. We actually have a lot of people who lost 20 pounds in 8 weeks, mashallah. So even though generally what we say is, lose up to 20, 30 pounds in 90 days, we do have a lot of people who lose it in 8 weeks. And we have some people who take some 16, 20 weeks to lose the 20 pounds because also if you don't have a whole lot to lose, you may not even have 20 pounds total to lose. But usually what I find for people in their 40s, it usually takes about 4 months if you have, 20 pounds to lose. And well, actually, we have a guy who lost 20 pounds in 8 weeks, and he's in his 40s. So, mashallah. I mean, again, there's a lot of variance, but generally, these are kind of the trends that we look at. I'll do another video on I don't even need to make a video. Like, generally, if you have a lot of fat to lose, you can lose 1.5% of your body weight per week safely. When you have less fat to lose, usually you want to lose about 0.5% of your body weight per week. And it also depends on how advanced you are, how deep into a fat loss phase you are, etc., and how much muscle you're willing to lose and what your performance demands are. There's a lot of factors, but that's generally the range is 0.5 to 1.5% of your body weight is how many pounds you can lose per week safely and realistically without losing muscle, without messing up your metabolism, without having to be on some crazy restrictive diet, okay? So if you're 300 pounds, that means you can lose 4.5 pounds a week, up to 4.5 pounds a week. Usually, I've had guys also lose 10 pounds the first week because they drop a lot of bloat. There's a lot of guys and girls, right? There's a lot of variance. Okay, and then we also have another individual, Brother Waleed, who lost 20 pounds and got a six-pack in 90 days, and part of that 90-day transformation was during Ramadan. He's the guy who went from the belly to there's a couple guys on the page who have a belly to six-pack, but he's like the second one on the website. So again, couple examples there, but we're not going to have time to go into their specific meal plans today. But inshallah, if you want me to do some meal plan breakdowns in the future after Ramadan, drop a comment, let me know, and I can do some meal plan breakdowns. And also, you can check out my interviews where some of my clients who do their testimony interview will break down some of the elements of their meal plans so you can get some insights on what's working between their cardio or step count, between their training, between their diet. Again, it's all about finding a sustainable and enjoyable way to create the deficit that enhances your energy levels and therefore enhances other areas of your life without taking excessive time from other areas, but rather giving more energy so you can make more out of the time that you do have in your other areas where every area of your life improves. That's always the balance that we strike while making sure that you enjoy the food that you're eating to ensure that it's sustainable transformation and that you're able to transition and maintain that result for years and years and basically the rest of your life. So Poor concluder. The time I'm recording this, we only got 10 days left in Ramadan. I probably should record this at the beginning of Ramadan, but I'm recording it now, and we're just entering the last 10 nights, so we got to make the most of our Ibadah. I just want to make sure we have content for the next 10 days that we can utilize to ensure that you guys get the daily value that you need from my page and my pages and my social medias, inshallah. Yes, subhanAllah, how Ramadan flies so fast. Use these tips to have more energy so you can finish Ramadan strong and make the most out of the last 10 days and maintain and possibly build some of that muscle, lose more fat, and again, make the most of those 10 nights, finish Ramadan strong, and then continue the rest of the year strong as well. Make sure that you share this with a friend and subscribe to the YouTube. Save this for next Ramadan, inshallah. And save this for your Sunnah fast, because we have some Sunnah fasts. Obviously, we got Shawwal coming up. And then, of course, in a couple months, we got Dhul Hijjah, right? So we obviously got to make sure that we're optimized and dialed in for our fast during those times as well. And I encourage you too. We're already in the habit of fasting during Ramadan. Keep up the habit of Monday and Thursday fast for the sake of Allah. It's going to help you with your fitness, but make your intention for the sake of Allah. And now that we're in the rhythm with it, and use these principles as well for when you're doing Sunnah fast Mondays and Thursdays on the 13th, 14th, and 15th of every month. These are the Sunnah times to fast, and I highly recommend you do so. And if you need help losing weight, building muscle, fixing your energy levels and your health, whether it's right now to finish off Ramadan strong or after Ramadan, check out our program details, info page, and testimonials. Maybe you want to check out those testimonials after I talk about them just now. Maybe you're like, hey, you know what? I really want to do a program. Let me check out the program info details. We also have transparent pricing at the bottom of the page as well, so that you know ultimately what the financial aspect is going to look like as well, what the investment looks like, in addition to a full overview of the program and results that other clients like you have gotten. So I'll drop the link down below on YouTube, the links in my bio on Instagram and all my other social medias. And inshallah, I look forward to seeing you get amazing results this Ramadan and finish Ramadan strong. May Allah help us all to finish Ramadan even better than we started it. Remember, everybody's always excited at the beginning of something, whether it's Ramadan, whether it's a diet, whatever it may be, but it's the discipline where real champions are made at the end. Alhamdulillah, Ramadan gives us an amazing reference experience in doing so, so take advantage of it for your mindset, but most importantly for the sake of Allah, and may Allah help us finish Ramadan strong. Ameen. All right, share this with a friend. Inshallah, I'll see you in the next video, and drop a comment with any questions you have. Assalamu alaikum.